congratulations to Ryan Coogler and the people and the cast that made Sinners. It is now the sixth horror film in history to reach $200 million worldwide. The sixth. It's only been six films in Hollywood history that ever reached $200 million worldwide. That needs to be applauded, man, especially for a black produced, directed, and written film. That has to be applauded. They was trying to really tear that film down when it first came out, trying to say that even though it's successful, it didn't make, their budget back and all this stuff. And it had only been back. It had only been out maybe two days, and they talking about it didn't make its budget back. They don't do that shit with other films, especially other white films. They don't do that shit. As a matter of fact, comedian Ben Stiller called them out on that shit because he loved the film. Tom Cruise thought the film was great, but Ben Stiller came out and said, y'all don't do this with other films. Why y'all got to point out that it didn't make his budget back? Y'all have never done that with any other films. And we know why, because it was a black written, black directed, black produced film. Even though it was backed, executive produced, and distributed by a white company, Warner Brothers, they still didn't want to give the brother Ryan Coogler his props. The film is good. I won't say it's great. I think that's putting too much on it, but the film is really good, and it had me at the edge of my seat, which I haven't been to the theaters. It got me back in the theaters, and which says something because I haven't been to the theaters in years. So the fact that Ryan Coogler got me to the point where I couldn't wait to see this film. I had to see it in theaters when I could have just waited it out maybe a month or so and could have saw it on screen, which I don't know. I think this film is going to be in theaters longer if they can make money off of it. Matter of fact, they're talking about re-releasing it on the 15th, which is in a couple days. They want to re-release it in IMAX theaters only, which the film is still in theaters on regular size, film, because it was shot on 70D, which is IMAX format. But you can still go see it at, your local theater in standard format, standard size. But the film was shot for you to see it on a bigger format, which is just another attempt for them to try to get people back into the theaters. They make the sound grander and they make everything more bigger, the screen bigger, so that'll give you a reason to come back to the theaters and also pay an extra $10. Because IMAX is not cheap. IMAX is very expensive. It's like an extra $10 on top of the extra $15 on top of the $10 admission fee that you're gonna pay to go to a theater. So you're looking at $25. But I'm thinking about going to see it on IMAX. I really want to see it because I've always seen the movie on standard size because I didn't know that he shot it on IMAX. So I think after the first time I saw it, I watched a couple of documentaries. He talked about how he shot it purposely on IMAX film. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot that he shot it I should have went and saw it on IMAX. But the second time I went to go see it, I ended up taking somebody with me, so I didn't want to pay the extra $20. You know what I'm saying? I was being cheap. I could have went and spent the extra $20, but I didn't. But that's dope though, man. The sixth highest grossing horror film is Sinners. It's a black film, which is, I think that's phenomenal. Ryan Coogler is about to get a lot. I'm pretty sure he probably got offers out the wazoo already. Now I believe he already has like a 3 or 4 picture deal with Warner Brothers. But I was thinking though, a lot of white folks have been hating on this film. A lot of white folks have been hating on this movie. I would have to say not just white folks, people in general. And I thought to myself, if Quentin Tarantino or Robert Rodriguez made this film, would it receive as much hate as it's been getting in the media lately? I would say no. Because it's a black produced, directed, written film, I think that's why it's getting so much hate, because it's being so successful. Just hating. I think it's just all about jealousy, hating. They just hate this. As much shine that these folks get out of, when they drop their films and nobody complains, we get one hit after years, and we the boogeyman. Don't nobody want to support it. People saying that Sinners, a lot of white folks have been saying that Sinners is horrible, which is not. And another reason I think people don't like it, to be really honest with you, another reason I think people don't like it is because of, I believe, now this is a spoiler alert, so if anybody hasn't seen it, y'all might want to click off this video till you go see it. But the last part of the movie was a part where Michael B. Jordan's character takes out, he shoots all these white racist men with a machine gun, like all these Klansmen that were coming to harm black people. But Michael B. Jordan got the drop on him, and he took out a whole Klan with a machine gun and a hand grenade, blew their asses up. And something about that, white people don't like to see us fighting them back. That scares them, even if it's a fictional movie. You know, that us fighting them back is something about that spooks them for some reason. Although they're mighty fine watching a movie like The Butler or The Help, where we can, called N-word all through the film, serving them and getting beat up by the police and stuff like that. They'll watch those movies all day long because it takes them back to, matter of fact, The Help, when it came out, that movie was getting all kind of accolades and all kind of shit. And Viola Davis, who played a really good part in that movie, she was very docile and kind of, humble. Her son got taken out by the Klan and stuff. So they like for us to be solid and just getting our ass whooped by them and getting called the N-word. They love movies like that with us like that. Anything where we fighting back or taking their ass out, they don't want to watch shit like that. They think it's a horrible movie. But I think that probably has a lot to do with it, is that ending scene. And on top of that, it's written, directed, and produced by a black man, which is odd to me because Quentin Tarantino did the Django, and he was shooting white people left and right. Jamie Foxx was shooting white folks left and right in that movie. And white folks think that the Django is the best movie since sliced bread. But it was written and directed by a white man. See, they'll watch that type of shit with black people fighting back if a white person is fully behind the movie. Anything Quentin Tarantino, Spielberg make, Lucas make, Martin Scorsese makes, they are all for it. Yeah, I guarantee you, if John Singleton or Spike Lee would have directed the Django, they would have thought the Django was the worst film ever made. Just like how they saying this the whole thing about Sinners. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's not all that great. The movie's horrible. Oh my God, white people think this movie is so phenomenal. Let Spielberg would have been behind the shit. They'd have thought that movie was the greatest movie ever told. And a lot of their movies, they be nominating for Oscars, and they think so good. I'll go back and watch some of these white made films, and I'll think to myself, why did they think this shit was so dope? This shit is so boring and bland, and it'll get all these Golden Globe nominations and Oscar nods. Like, this shit is bullshit. This shit is boring as hell. But they produced it, so they think it's just phenomenal. Oh my God, it's a genius. Like that Arkenheimer or Barbenheimer, the one about the guy who made the atom bomb. Nigga, that shit was so boring. That film was so, Christopher Nolan directed. That movie was so boring, dog. It was like sending a long ass lecture. That movie was boring. But white folks was thinking that movie was just, oh my God, it's visually, it's just, oh my God, the writing and the directing was, oh my God, Christopher Nolan's a freaking cinema genius. I'm like, this movie is boring. This movie is bored as hell. They'll watch that shit and think it's the best thing since sliced bread, but then see Sinners, which that movie was from start to finish. I would say it had a little slow parts in it, but it was from start to finish. It was a very interesting film that had a lot of hidden gems in it as well. You know what I'm saying? Another reason I think a lot of these white folks is hating on this movie though is because the love scene between she's not a new actress. She's been around for a while. Haley Seinfeld. I thought she might have been the daughter to Jerry Seinfeld because he's the only other famous Seinfeld. But apparently they have no relation. But the Haley Seinfeld, that's a pretty ass white girl. That's a pretty white girl. And she's slobbing down Michael B. Jordan in the movie. So that may be something that has something to do with it too. See what I'm saying? They'll do a movie with Billy Bob Thornton, Humpty Dumpty ass, hopping on our beautiful queens like Halle Berry, and they'll give him an Oscar nod. They don't like for us. Now, if Michael B. Jordan was tonguing down Melissa McCartney or Roseanne Barr or some less attractive looking white woman, they'd have been all for it. But being that he was slobbing down a fine ass, cute young white girl, that's another reason I think they ain't like that movie. They don't like for us to get the girl, especially the fine girl. They want to be the one to get the girl and get all the women and stuff like that in the movies and save the day. So that's another reason why I think they didn't like the movie. At the end, the black man was the hero pretty much at the end too as well. Unless Marvel or then the Disney behind it, like Black Panther, then they'll jump on board. But for the most part, in the original story where we win, they don't like that shit. That's why they end up shutting down Nate Parker. You know, Nate Parker made Birth of a Nation, where he was taking, where he had, which was about the slave rebellion. Black folks fighting back. They don't want to see that. That scares white people. They like to see us getting lynched and getting, done in and all that kind of stuff. And they'll watch that all day long. But we fighting back, nah, they don't want to watch that. That's why they thought 12 Years a Slave was so phenomenal, because it was a white man that pretty much saved the brother, and then pretty much throughout the whole movie, white folks is laying black folks out in 12 Years a Slave. See, that's why that movie got all kind of Oscar nods, and oh my god, it's so phenomenal. And just the beatings were so graphic and so immersed. They like that shit. That's like porn to them. They like to see our ass get whooped by them. But us busting back at the ass, like Michael B. Jordan did in Sinners, they don't want to see that shit. They want to be on top of all races of men, unfortunately. Anyway, y'all, what y'all think about this, man? Leave your comments and subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Sinners, man. Congratulations, man. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I need some money. Y'all hit my Cash App up. $ Charles Arnez, CharlesArnes. I'll put it at the bottom. Y'all can go ahead and break a brother off, man, so I can make more of these videos. Holler at y'all later.